Hello once again. So I've decided to come on and kind of update what's been going on around the world and in our country. So the most recent update is that there was another guy that was shot in Atlanta, a Richard Brooks, in front of a Wendy's, and then crowds later burned the Wendy's down. The officers who shot him were arrested, and they're saying that they might get the death penalty. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, is this just another George Floyd thing?" Not quite. See, the problem, the not problem, but the thing is unlike George Floyd, who was unarmed and who they pinned to the ground without real cause, Rashard Brooks was drunk. The police went to move him along. He became belligerent with the police, and then he grabbed an officer's taser, ran away, and then turned around and tried to use it on the police that responded. And as a result, they shot him and killed him. And now the two officers that were involved with that are being tried for murder, and they're saying they may get the death penalty. I don't think this is a good thing because, according to the thing, this wasn't like George Floyd. This man was an actual threat to police, and then he went and he killed, or not even killed. He took an officer's taser, and then they tried to use it on the officers. That constitutes a show of belligerence, and then that also constitutes a threat to a police officer's life. And they neutralized him. Now I know a lot of people can say, "Well, why did they have to kill him?" The thing is that officers are trained to protect their lives, and unfortunately, that does result in killing a lot of the time. I know that there's a whole lot of police form, but see now because we're in this emotional state because of what happened to George Floyd, now officers are walking off the job. They are. It's just not a good time to be a police officer. Like I said, they're walking off the job. They're being charged for things instead of self-defense. I've seen a lot of people come to the defense of the two officers that uh, shot Rashard Brooks. But now, see, we've opened Pandora's box, and we're not going to be able to just shove the evil and the chaos back in. Now it's defund the police, get rid of the police, all these things, and now what happens? We want to strip officers of their abilities to protect us. We want to get rid of officers. Minneapolis got rid of their police force. Yet liberals, the liberal Democrats and the anti-gun people don't want the people to have guns. So what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to protect ourselves now if they want to get rid of the police to protect us and they don't want us to protect ourselves? This is just opening Pandora's box, and this is just becoming a real big problem, and I'm a little sad about what's going on right now. Also, if you haven't been paying attention, and maybe you haven't because the news has been dominated by George Floyd and the protests and everything else, there is a possible war brewing between China and India. A couple of days ago, there was a scuffle at the Indian-Chinese border where Chinese forces supposedly went into area controlled by India on the Himalayan border, and a Indian officer was shoved off a cliff and died. From there was scuffling, and the Chinese and the Indian soldiers were beating each other with clubs and fist fighting. And India has now called China a paper dragon, saying that if China initiates a fight with the Indian nation, that India will destroy them. I don't know how feasible that is, but I do know that when the two most populous countries of the world are squaring off like that, it tends to create a sense of uncertainty. Both India and China have populations that exceed 1 billion. They are the two most populous and the largest countries population-wise in the world. So now, you said the people were saying that the President Trump was going to start World War III, and that him killing the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani back in January was going to start this. Now we've got conflict between India and China. China's kind of not been on everybody's happy list, considering that coronavirus, which we're still dealing with, came out of China. Like I said, there's that whole argument: was it a bioweapon? Did they infect bats with it and then send them to the United States? Was it a bioweapon that got out of a lab? Nobody seems to know, but this is just kind of the latest in a long line of things that China's done that hasn't made the world happy. And now the Indian Army has told China that they will invade and fight China if China does not back down, and China is telling India the same thing. So, possible World War III or possible Indian-Chinese war, who knows? I have no idea what's going on. The world's becoming more and more crazy by the second. We've got a presidential election coming up. There's the two parties are fighting each other instead of leading the country. The Democrats blame Trump. Trump blames the Democrats. I don't really know what to make of all this. I really don't know what to make of all this. I don't know. So yeah, those are the two things I wanted to talk about: was the shooting of Rayshard Brooks in self-defense from the police after he grabbed the cop's taser and tried to use it on him, and then the possible war brewing between China and India. Are you paying attention yet, America? Are you really paying attention? I'll be paying attention because things are falling apart, and everybody wonders why. It's because we're all fighting each other. Now is not the time for conflict. 2001 after 9/11. Back when we were all just Americans, we weren't Republicans, we weren't Democrats, we weren't liberals, we weren't conservatives, we were just Americans trying to help each other, and I think we can do that again, and I think we need to be like that again. I've been saying this for a long time. Us tearing each other down isn't helping. I think we all kind of need to meet together and find some common ground again. And I don't want it to be another major attack or something horrible like that. America has the ability to unite. We did it during Hurricane Harvey. We did it during all the other hurricanes and other natural disasters that have happened in this country. And I don't see the need for division. If we just sit down and listen to each other, we can do just fine, but we're not doing that. You know, the people supporting Black Lives Matter don't seem to want to listen, and the people against Black Lives Matter don't want to listen, and this either or thing is what's killing us. I think we all need to sit down and listen to one another. Because really, what is all this division going on? Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the United States is apparently two countries now, because you've got the United States of America, which is the 50 contiguous states, including the 48 contiguous states and Hawaii and Alaska, and apparently the Capitol Hill occupied protesters who have taken over the sixth block area in Seattle. The Seattle City Council met with people from the CHOP recently, changed their name from Chaz to CHOP. They met them recently, and now they're erecting permanent concrete borders between the city of Seattle and this small autonomous zone. What? This is a violation of the U.S. Constitution. Look, Article 4, Section 3 of this Constitution says that no new state can be created or admitted to the Union without permission from Congress and the Convention of the States, or more so Congress. So these occupiers have no right, legal or otherwise, to set up any sort of autonomous anything inside of the sovereign territory of a state. So I don't know why the city of Seattle has allowed this, why the mayor of Seattle has allowed this, and why the governor Jay Inslee of Washington has allowed this. I get making a statement, but you don't have the right as Americans to carve off parts of the United States or a city within the sovereign territory of a state. There is no legal backing. It doesn't matter how good your intentions are. That to me borders on near treason. Okay, yeah, you talk about the Occupy Wall Street people back in 2009, 2010, but they dispersed eventually, and they didn't set up an autonomous zone that was trying to be separate from the rest of the United States. They sat on Wall Street as protesting, which you can do. You can do a sit-in like that. The civil rights people did that, but when you call yourself the Capitol Hill Occupy protesters or the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, you have theoretically created a separate country from the United States. The U.S. Constitution doesn't allow you to do that. I kind of like the idea of, okay, you want to do that, fine, but you can no longer leave the zone without a passport. You must create your own passports, you must create your own currency, and you must do all that because you have declared yourself not part of the United States. So crazy times when India and China are about to go to war. Police officers are now being threatened with the death penalty for doing their job. And Seattle has a separate country within its borders. 2020 is the year of topsy-turvy, and I'm becoming more and more worried. I guess we'll see what happens, right? I do hope the police stop this whole chop jazz thing because it's such a dangerous precedent. Because next thing you know, we're going to have people hacking off parts of states and declaring their own selves independent and stuff. We did enough of that with the Civil War, the first Civil War, and I hope it doesn't become a second Civil War. I don't want to see that, but the way things are going, it looks like we might have a second Civil War, and God help us if we do. Not too late, America. Turn around. Stop the crazy. All right. Thank you for listening. You have a good day. Subscribe, comment, do whatever you want. I'd love to hear the opinions of more people, and I'd love to have more followers. So subscribe and comment on my videos if you want. If you think I'm wrong, you can tell me that too. Anyways, you have a good day. Bye.